Hey guys, Johnny Farrow here, and welcome to the Musician Kitchen. This is the very first episode of the Musician Kitchen, so in the comments below I want you to let me know what you think of this episode. I'm going to get started today showing you how to make an incredible, very simple banana almond butter bread. Now this is paleo friendly. There is 0 flour in it. It's kind of a sweet bread, like a breakfast bread of sorts. It's got half a cup of almond butter. This is crunchy almond butter, and I believe it's also raw and organic. You can use smooth if you want. A couple of large eggs, 2 tablespoons of honey or maple syrup. I'm going with maple syrup because I dig the sweet, smoky kind of flavor. A 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla, a pinch of salt. You're going to use a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, a tablespoon of ground cinnamon, 1 ripe banana about medium sized, and then I'm actually going to throw some walnuts in mine. I'm going to use probably about half a cup of walnuts. You can leave them out. You can throw any other kind of nut in there you want. And then this is coconut oil here. I'm going to use this to grease my pan. All right, so getting started. This is kind of cool because it's the kind of recipe where you kind of just throw a bunch of shit in a bowl and then it comes out awesome, which is kind of what I like. Nice and easy and delicious. So we're going to drop the almond butter right in. I'm using a rubber scraper. I don't like to waste myself, nor do I like to waste almond butter. All right, and then in with a couple of eggs here. And in case you're wondering, I have a garbage can down there. I don't just throw stuff on the floor, I swear to God. All right. And you'll notice I'm not particularly measuring with, like, for the most part, with any kind of measuring spoon or anything, but by all means, I won't judge you if you use a measuring spoon or anything like that. So we're going 2 tablespoons here on the syrup, 1 and 2. Dash of the vanilla. And by the way, I will put the recipe in the comments below as well, or in the description below rather, so you can refer back to it and just have it in writing if you'd prefer. A little pinch of salt, and this is Himalayan pink salt. I never ever use iodized table salt. It's always kosher salt, sea salt, or the Himalayan pink. All right, a little bit of baking soda. Not a lot in there. Going with our cinnamon, as Emerald would say, 1 tablespoon roughly. And now for the banana, what I like to do, and this is going to look a little weird, don't get all weirded out, but I'm going to work it a little bit like this to kind of mush it up in the skin. It'll just make it that much easier to then mix it in with everything. So see, it's nice and mushed up. Just plop that in there. Plump. And now we're going to toss our walnuts in. And again, about a half a cup here roughly. You know, just kind of eyeballing that a little bit. And I'm literally just going to beat this all together with a fork. Super duper easy recipe. This is a fun one to do with the kids. This is great for just like a breakfast bread, like to get started. It's actually a fair amount of protein because of the nuts and the almond butter and all that, and the eggs. Again, 0 flour. It's kind of incredible. The first time I ever made this recipe, I was sure that it would not come out good at all, because I'm like, how the hell can this make like a bread, like anything resembling bread? But sure enough, this will come out looking and tasting and with the texture of a bread. It's kind of nuts. Lots of nuts, actually. I am also a dad, so the dad jokes are strong with this one. Just warning y'all in advance of further episodes, there will be definite dad jokes abound. And the other thing that I tend to have to do as I go along is there are, in my mind, a lot of parallels between music and cooking that I've just found. They're both very creative things. And there are like things, for example, like salt, different kinds of techniques, different kinds of seasoning that have a parallel aspects of music production. So as I go along and as those things are applicable, I will be bringing them up and making them known to you, and that's kind of part of the just something that's a little bit different about this show versus other cooking shows, if you will. All right, so that's beaten plenty. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a little bit of coconut oil, about a half a tablespoon, which is a teaspoon. And I'm just going to rub it into my pan. This is an 8-inch by 8-inch pan. I like to use glass. I don't like the metal. because metal can add to your taste in ways you don't want it to, and also just depending on where you get it, especially if it's a cheaper pan, there's a lot of funky stuff that can happen with metal pans that you just don't run into with glass. Just a healthier way to go. Making sure you get the sides nice and greasy. And that's just fine. And now I'm literally just going to dump this all in and kind of make sure it distributes evenly. Dump it in, dump it in. Alright. And I again hate to waste, so I'm using a rubber scraper here to just get all of this out of here. And this is smelling incredible. Oh my god, get in my mouth. Not until you're cooked though. Alright. So we got everything in here. It actually distributed itself pretty well, but you can kind of spread it around a little if you need to. So that is literally it. Now what we're going to do is toss this into an oven. I've been preheating my oven at 325 degrees. I would recommend letting your oven preheat for about 10 minutes, or I know some ovens, if it's a fancier oven, will have like a little beep that happens when it's preheated, but make sure not to put this in before the preheating is done. We're going to pop it in 12 to 15 minutes depending on your oven, and that's literally it. So here we go. I'm going to toss this in the oven now. We'll be back in 12 to 15 minutes. Alright guys, we're back. So we got our bread here. It was in the oven about 15 minutes. It looks incredible. Now after like 12 minutes you can check it with a fork. If it's still a little gooey, just leave it in for the extra 3 minutes to 15, which is what I did. And then you'll notice we greased that pan nice and good, so the spatula gets in between the pan and the bread, no problem. So I've already worked kind of around it. And I'm going to do a little flipperoo now with my bread and just kind of let it fall onto my cutting board, which it has done beautifully. Pan's still a little hot, so I'm just using the spatula to help me out here. You can see the smoke. There's your bottom. And oh goodness, woo! And it broke, but that's okay, because it's going to be delicious. Again, you can let it sit probably 5-10 minutes. I like to cut it into squares like this. You get about 9 good-sized pieces out of the bread. And there you have it. Breakfast bread can be a dessert, can be used as like a Christmas morning thing, whatever you like. Very simple, takes very little time, and it's actually healthy. Go figure. So again, let me know in the comments below what you think of this recipe. Try it out. Let me know how you like the recipe. And if you have suggestions for other things you'd like to see on future episodes, let me know that as well. Until then, I'm Johnny Farrow. This has been The Musician Kitchen. I'll see you on the next episode. Mwah!